Go ahead and good morning, everybody, and welcome everybody to the Structural Pest Control Board meeting, October 20th. And I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Susan, can you go ahead and perform roll call for us and establish a quorum?
Curtis Good.
Here.
Derek Devermont.
Here.
Magali Flores Nunez.
Here.
Kyle Finley.
Here.
Curtis does establish quorum. We have 4 of our 7 board members on the line.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. And then
Janet Thrasher, board member Thrasher, also just joined.
Good morning. I had a little trouble logging in, but here I am.
Good morning, Janet. We just started, so welcome. Thank you.
Okay, and the minutes will reflect that Janet is also on the line. So we do have 5 of our 6 board members right now.
Excellent. Okay, this time I'd like to recognize our new board member, Magali Nunez, and welcome her to the Structural Pest Control Board. I think she will be a great addition to our board. I think she has a medical background, so great addition, public member. So Ms. Nunez, thank you very much for joining, and we look forward to working with you. And once again, thank you for serving the California and the recipients of the pest control products of our industry. So thank you, and we welcome you.
Good morning, all. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Curtis. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and have the Pledge of Allegiance. If you like, you can repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, is there any public comments that are not on the agenda? Moderator, I guess if you can open that up and see if there's any public comments.
Exactly. So we do have the Q&A feature of WebEx opened. We will be displaying instructions on the screen. There we go. So if you would like to make a comment on any items that are not on the agenda, you can click on the Q&A icon that's usually in the lower right corner of your WebEx screen. Type the word comment, and we will take comments in the order received. We will send a request for you to unmute your microphone if we do end up calling on you if you have a comment. If you're on a mobile device, you can click the 3-dot other options icon to find the Q&A.
Okay, moderator, this is Curtis Good, President.
Yes.
While we're waiting for the others to check in, I do have some opening comments. At this time, I would like to, as board president, recognize the nearly 27,000 industry members that this board licensed from branch 1s, branch 2, branch 3s, and the applicators that have all been out there protecting people, property, and health for the past 18 months while these very trying times. And they've done it relentlessly and done their jobs full-heartedly. And I recognize these individuals as our heroes. And I'd like to thank them for their dedication to, the consumers of California. And I wish them well, and I thank them again. And also with that, there's nearly probably another 5,000 or 6,000 office workers that have been out there working every day in their offices to support the needs and the licensees of our industry. And so them too. And I know it's been very trying time for everybody. In our office, we've had a few instances and outbreaks, but everybody's come through this very strongly, worked their way through it. And I'm sure we're not out of the woods with this. And I'd also like to recognize a few members at the Structural Pest Control Board, and that's Melissa Roberts and Melissa Zanetta, both who, from what I understand, have not taken any time off during the past 18 months and pretty much worked straight through. So to you ladies, thank you very much to your dedication to the Structural Pest Control Board and to the consumers of California and everything you've done to protect the consumers of the pest control industry and the licensees and everything that you do to support us. And to Susan, thank you for your dedication and oversight to the board. I know you've taken very few days off during the past 18 months. And I know these have been very trying times. There have been some very disturbing times up there at the board. And I wish you well. And I wish all employees at the board that we get through this and we come out the other side a little stronger. So thank you to everybody for their dedication and everything they've done to keep California safe and the products that they service and do. So thank you to everyone. You all are heroes in my book. And thank you for your dedication. Thank you, moderator.
You're welcome. We do have one request to comment from a call-in user, and I will send you a request to unmute your microphone. You can hit the unmute me button, wait a second, and begin speaking. You'll have 5 minutes to comment.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I am the core reporter, and I've been trying to get in for the past about 8 minutes.
Oh,
I
apologies.
heard you introduce the quorum, and I heard you say.
And I think we accidentally muted the court reporter as we promoted him, but thank you very much for identifying yourself.
I unmuted myself again.
Wonderful.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much.
Wow, okay. Well, I apologize. I've had a hard time getting in this morning. I've listened to you, but I've not been able to get your attention.
Okay, well, you've got us now. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm a little unfamiliar with what's going on right now. It's the Structural Pest Control Board, I know. You mentioned there's a quorum, so there's a board of you, not just the judge and the respondent?
Mr. Patterson, this is Judge Van Rooyen. They haven't started the hearing yet. They're still doing the public comment. So just hang tight and then they'll get to you once we start the petition hearing later on. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge Van Rooyen.
And I see no other requests for public comment at this time. Shall we close the feature?
I think there might be one trying to come through. Let's hold for just a second to see if
All right.
trying to come in. I'll give it like a minute. If not, I'll open it back up later if they can't get on now.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, I'm going to excuse myself for 1 second and check on that. I'll be right back. Give me
All
1
right.
minute.
Thank you.
Okay, moderator, I'm very sorry. I know the president of the Structural Pest Control Board was trying, of the Pest Control Operators of California was trying to log in and he was having some difficulty. So maybe after the closed session, I'll reopen that up and we can go ahead and move on to the petition for reinstatement at this time.
Okay. And Laura, did you have a comment that you'd like to make?
Yes, hi. I just wanted to be sure that the video aspect of things was working okay. I haven't seen anyone else on video, and I'm using a different device than I typically do for these meetings.
I do see some videos populating now. Wonderful. Do you see any of those, Laura?
No, I don't.
Okay, many of the board members have their cameras on.
Okay. Can you see me?
Let me see. My screen doesn't always put the name right there.
I can see Laura.
You can? Okay.
Perfect.
I can, yes.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
So at that point, shall I go ahead and close the public comment? President Good, shall I close public comment?
Yes, please. Let's go ahead and close public comments, and we'll move on to the petition for reinstatement and have the Judge Van Rowan take over from here.
Thank you. And the petitioner is here. I'm going to make him a panelist at this point so he can mute and unmute himself as he pleases and turn on his camera if he chooses.
Good morning.
Good morning. Is this Mr. Aquino?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning, sir. This is Judge Van Royen. Do you intend to testify by video as well, or just audio? Because right now I'm just seeing your, I'm not seeing any video of you.
Yes, I'm trying to set it up right now.
That's okay.
Would audio just be fine, or does it have to be video also?
If you don't have the ability to join by video, that's fine. It's always nice to see someone's face. I think the board appreciates that, but if it's impossible, it's not a problem. I also noticed Ms. Petition. Are you still with us? Can you hear me? I think we've lost our Deputy Attorney General as well.
Yes, I'm still making an attempt to set up the video. However, I just have.
That's okay, sir. Take your time because I think we're missing the Attorney General, and we can't proceed without her either. So, Madam Moderator, I'll turn it over to you to try and figure out the technicalities of WebEx. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Petition, I do see that you're trying to talk, but I'm not hearing you. You are unmuted. Let's see, if you go up to audio and video settings at the top of your WebEx screen, you may need to either change devices or boost your input. Oh, I do see you are on a mobile device. I'm going to go ahead and mute you and so that then we can request that you unmute, and perhaps just the Windows version of turn it off and turn it on will help us. Let's see. Goodness. And let me try to get her back into the meeting here. Okay, welcome back, Ms. Petition. Are you able to unmute yourself at this point? I'll send you a request to unmute in case that makes it easier. Okay. Looks like Ms. Petition is having some connection issues. And Ms. Petition has fallen off the call. I will keep an eye to see if she comes back in. And our court reporter, I'm going to go ahead and mute you just because I am detecting some background noise and I'm not sure who it's from. So let's take a look here. And thank you for your patience while we attempt to reconnect with Laura Petticini. And as a point of information to Board President Curtis Good, we do have a raised hand from someone identifying as Bill Lamb. But since we've started our hearing, I think perhaps it would be appropriate to take that after closed session. Oh, here's Laura. And Laura, can we do a mic check?
Sure. Hello?
Oh, perfect. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. I apologize. I'm not sure why I got disconnected.
All right. So, Judge Van Rooyen.
All right.
It's
This
yours.
is, let's start back, second attempt or third attempt. Let me just make sure. So we've got, you can hear me, Ms. Petticini, correct?
Yes, I can, Your Honor.
Wonderful. And then Mr. Aquino, I just want to make sure. I saw your face earlier on. You were able to turn your video. Can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And there your video is turned on. Perfect, sir. And then we have Mr. Patterson, the court reporter. Are you still with us? Can you hear me? Oh, and he got muted.
Yes, I sent him a request to unmute.
I just want to make sure because it's very important. that you can hear me
Exactly.
before we go.
And Mr. Patterson, you can try *6 to unmute yourself. And Mr. Patterson, I've sent you a request for you to unmute your microphone. And
Can you
there we
hear me?
go. Now we
Hello?
can hear you. Thank you very
me
much.
three-
So if you
three
can
tries to
confirm
do
that you, oh, sorry. Okay, so can you confirm that you can hear us?
I can hear you. I hear a
Thank you.
squeak in the background.
Okay, terrific. I just wanted to make sure you could before we started going. All right, so let's go on the record.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr.
Your Honor,
Patterson.
I have no idea who the participants are. I need a seating chart of some sort so I know who's speaking.
Well, we're going to be identifying everyone on the record as we go. So that's part of what I do. I'm going to have everyone identify themselves and spell their names if that's what you need, okay?
Is there any chance I could write it down before you say it? Just go through the list, I'll write it down. Your Honor, what it is it's my visual cue that I look at to see who's speaking. I can see the name and it's much easier for me to write it down than to just do it on the fly and try to remember the name after you say it.
All right.
If you're gonna say, Yeah.
So you have my name. Do you need that spelled?
oh no, I'm fine with you, you judge.
Okay. All right. So we're going to have our petitioner will be Mr. Aquino. This will be
Yeah.
Juan Carlos Aquino, JUANCARLOS ACUINO.
I have
So
him.
he will be speaking at some point. Then the Deputy Attorney General is Laura Petticini. That's spelled LAURA. Petticini, PEDICINI. And then
Thank you.
our board members who will be speaking will be Curtis Good, CURTIS GOOD, Derek Devermont, DEREK, Devermont, DEVERMONT, Kyle Finley, KYLE, Finley, FINLEY, Magali Flores Nunez, MAGALI, Flores, FLORES, Nunez, NUNEZ, and then Janet Thrasher, JanetThrasher. All
Would you
right.
spell that last name once again, please? PH,
Sure.
was it? Or
Thrasher. Thrasher.
are you saying P as in Paul? Or T as in Tom?
T as in
Thrasher?
T as in Tom.
Thank you. Like a shark. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that.
No worries. Anything else you need before we go on the record?
Just 1 second and I'll be ready.
All right. Let me know when you're ready and we'll get started.
Okay, Your Honor, I believe I'm ready. If we could get the board members to announce their name before they speak, that would be very helpful.
All right. I will try and remind them of that. No worries. Thank you. All right. Let's go on the record.
Yes.
All right. We are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board, Department of Consumer Affairs for the state of California. We're here to review one petition this morning. This is a petition for reinstatement filed by Juan Carlos Aquino, revoked applicator's license number RA45842. That's in branches 2 and 3. The agency case number is 2008-69, and OAH case number is 2021090823. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the state of California. I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today's date is October 20th, 2021. It was noticed for 9 a.m. We're getting started just a little bit late at 9:25 a.m. We're conducting this matter via WebEx video and teleconference pursuant to Government Code Section 11133. Will all the members of the board please identify themselves for the record, starting with the president and then in whatever order, just so we can establish the quorum.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Curtis Good here, present.
Janet Thrasher here, present.
Kyle Finley here.
Magali Flores here.
Derek Devermont here.
Thank you very much. And I do find that the quorum of the board is present to hear this petition. May I take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Laura Petticini, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the people of the state of California pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Thank you. Good morning to you, Ms. Petticini. And then finally, the petitioner, I know we were informally introduced off the record. If you could just state and spell your name for the record, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Juan Carlos Aquino. First name Juan, middle name Carlos, and last name Aquino.
And good morning again, Mr. Aquino. Thank you so much. In terms of how the hearing will proceed today, first, I will have the Deputy Attorney General introduce the petition packet and provide us with an orientation in the background of this matter. Again, the purpose of today is not to relitigate prior events, but it does provide us with the context in which the petition comes to the board today. After that, Mr. Aquino, you will have the right to make a presentation under oath to explain why your petition should be granted. You may also call other witnesses to testify if you have any, and you and those witnesses would be subject to questioning by both the board members and the Deputy Attorney General. Again, we're mostly, as the board is mostly concerned with your rehabilitation that you may have engaged since the events that led to revocation of your license. You are reminded that the board has had the benefit of reading your petition package. So it's not necessary to repeat everything that's included in that package, but you can certainly highlight or emphasize any portions you deem appropriate. And then, as I mentioned, there'll be some questions for you by the Attorney General and the board members. After the hearing is done today, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate. So you won't be receiving a decision today, but you will be receiving the decision in the mail at some point in the future. Do you have any questions at this time, Mr. Aquino, about the process or the procedure that I can answer?
Yes, Your Honor. Right now, I'm actually looking at some paperwork that was filed to the immigration court, and I haven't submitted all my exhibits because I haven't been able to get a hold of my immigration attorney up in Northern California. And I think I need to do that because I wasn't aware that there was a form submitted to them. And I'm just reading it right now, and it said, it says, it was, let me read the form just a second. I'm sorry I can't provide you the exhibit. It's in an email that was sent to me by the Attorney General. I think it was the, just a second, please. It was from, hold on just a second. I'm getting it right now. I'm pulling it up. I know the first one's from the disciplinary action analyst, Melissa Roberts. And then just a second, sir.
No problem. As you're looking through that, my understanding is, but I'll ask Ms. Petticini, who submitted the packet. My understanding was that the board at some point requested documentation regarding a matter you had pending in immigration court, and the response from the immigration court was that they could not provide the documentation to the board because the request did not come from you, or there wasn't an authorization directly from you. Ms. Petticini, can you speak to that?
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. There were efforts to obtain more information regarding these underlying immigration-related issues, and the packet does include those efforts. The live scan did reveal the fact that there were charges of some kind that were addressed by the immigration court. I actually tried to reach petitioner's attorney, I believe it's Aiden Costello.
Yes.
And I was unable to reach him as well. My concern, and one of the things I plan to ask Mr. Aquino, is whether the immigration proceedings just basically referred back to the 2007 211s, so to those two felony convictions. And I wonder if the immigration proceedings were not about new charges, but rather the immigration court considering deporting Mr. Aquino. So that was what I was trying to address prior to today.
Oh yes, and that's the whole reason I wanted to. And by the way, Aiden Castillo is a female. She's a female attorney, and she, yes, and also what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to obtain some of the paperwork because they're making it a little bit difficult for me because my case was closed already, and I was granted status here. I was granted status, And that's the reason I'm trying to refile for my applicator's license for branches 2 and 3.
All right, so Mr. Aquino, I don't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves into the evidence, but here's sort of the question. I heard you say several things that you would like to obtain the documentation, and so I don't know what that means. Does that mean you're requesting a continuance of your petition hearing to obtain that documents? Here's my question before you answer that, which is I think what Ms. Pedicini raises, is if the immigration proceedings were based essentially on the same criminal convictions that your license was initially revoked for back in 2007 or 2009, the date escapes me now, then that's essentially, I mean, it has immigration consequences, and really that's not before us here, but it would be the same it would be the same convictions and evidence that was at issue. And so, one might think then maybe perhaps we don't need the immigration documentation to consider your petition.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor.
On the other hand, if it's a new conviction, which is I think what Ms. Pedicini wants to ask you about, then it may very well obviously be relevant to
Yes.
the board.
Yes. No, it is the same conviction. It is, in state court, it's under a different penal code, and in federal court it's listed under a different section, and so it's the same conviction.
All right, and then it just followed you into immigration court with consequences, and as you just said, that matter has now been resolved. So certainly you can, if you decide to proceed with the petition hearing today, you can explain all of that, and I'm fairly confident Ms. Pedicini is going to be asking you about that because the board will want to know whether it's duplicative, essentially, of the criminal proceeding, that there's no new criminal charges, and then that it's been resolved. So that would be the line of questioning I think we would want to know about today if you decide to proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, I will. I want to proceed.
Okay, and so that's all really. I know we sort of put the cart before the horse. We're going to be talking about all this stuff when you're under oath. I just wanted to establish as a threshold matter whether you wanted to proceed with the hearing today, or whether you wanted it continued. And I think we needed to understand a little bit about whether we need to know more about the immigration case or not, whether we need the documents. What I'm hearing as a preliminary matter is that we probably are not going to need to know about the immigration case, or at least we're not going to need to see the actual documents. But if that changes, we'll explore that as the evidence is presented. So is it your desire then to proceed with your petition hearing today? In other words, not continue it to obtain the immigration documentation. We will proceed with the record we have today.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to proceed. It was just my question was, I seen a form, right, and it said that it needed prior approval. And so I wanted to just ask my immigration attorney, but it's very hard to reach her.
No, I understand that. And I can understand why you had that question. It was a very reasonable question. I just wanted to make sure how we're going to proceed today. But I'm hearing from you that at least from your perspective, you would like to proceed with the petition hearing today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Pedicini, do you agree? And do you have any concerns about proceeding with the petition hearing today?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So any other questions, Mr. Aquino, before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So then at this point, I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Pedicini, to provide us with an orientation to the case and then introduce the petition exhibits. And you can do that in whatever order you personally prefer. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask that the documents that compose Exhibit 1 be entered into evidence. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of this exhibit. The documents within Exhibit 1 have been bait stamped with the numbers appearing at the bottom of each page in the bottom center. A summary of the documents within Exhibit 1 is as follows. There is a letter dated September 14th, 2021, advising petitioner Juan Carlos Aquino of the date and time of today's reinstatement hearing to be conducted via WebEx and requesting confirmation of petitioner's intent to attend today's hearing. There is a confirmation request form. There is an email from petitioner which confirms his intent to attend today's hearing, and that is dated September 24th, 2021. There is an April 15th, 2021 letter from board staff to petitioner containing general information regarding guidelines for there are guidelines for petition for reinstatement. There is the petition for reinstatement of revoked applicator's license number RA45842 in branches 2 and 3, which was submitted by petitioner and is signed and dated April 22nd, 2021. There's the petition for reinstatement of revoked license declaration. There is a request for live scan service for petitioner Aquino submitted by the Structural Pest Control Board and completed on or about April 19th, 2021. This includes criminal history information furnished pursuant to fingerprints submitted to the FBI. There's the default decision and order in the matter of accusation number 2008-69 and accompanying letter to petitioner explaining to petitioner that applicator's license number RA45842 in branches 2 and 3 is revoked effective June 28th, 2009. There's accusation number 2008-69, which was filed on April 30th, 2008, alleging one cause for discipline against petitioner for a substantially related criminal conviction, which occurred on or about October 17th, 2007, in case number BA 317136. Based on petitioner pleading no contest to 2 violations of Penal Code Section 211, robbery in the 2nd degree, both felonies. The underlying events and circumstances occurred on February 9th, 2007. A May 5th, 2021 letter from Structural Pest Control Board staff to the San Francisco Immigration Court requesting court documents involving petitioner as to the following matter. Agency case number A090497823 disposition on August 6, 2009. The charge as indicated from the live information is aggravated felony, section 101A43G, theft or burglary offense under the Immigration and Nationality Act. And finally, the certified license history of applicator's license RA45842, branches 2 and 3, which was originally issued on June 21st, 2006. I would now like to offer a summary of petitioner's history with the board, specifically as to applicator's license number RA45842. Petitioner was first licensed in California on June 21st, 2006. Effective June 28th, 2009, this board issued a default decision and order in which petitioner's applicator's license in branches 2 and 3 was revoked. The basis for the revocation relates back to a substantially related criminal conviction, and that conviction was the subject of accusation, case number 2008-69, which was filed on or about April 30th, 2008. The cause for discipline alleged in the accusation was for, again, a substantially related criminal conviction, and this conviction was alleged to be substantially related to the functions, qualifications, and duties of a licensee holding an applicator's license with the board. Specifically, the criminal conviction was for 2 counts of Penal Code Section 211, robbery in the second degree, both felonies. At the time of the robbery, which occurred on or about February 9th, 2007, respondent took personal property by means of force and fear. The fear was based on a handgun, and 2 victims were impacted. He was sentenced to state prison for 2 years with a 10-year enhancement. I'm now prepared at this point to proceed with questions for petitioner, unless petitioner wishes to make an opening statement first.
All right, thank you, Ms. Petticini. Just 2 things before we go into testimony. So for that immigration disposition you listed, I noticed you mentioned the date as August 6, 2009. Should that be August 6, 2019? I was just looking at the documents.
Yes, Your Honor, I misspoke. I apologize.
No problem. That's fine. I just wanted to make sure the record was clear. And let me make sure you've offered into evidence Exhibit 1. Mr. Aquino, those are essentially mostly the documents you submitted, but I still have to ask you, do you have any objection to admission of Exhibit 1? In other words, all those documents that Ms. Petticini just summarized for us for the petition?
No, sir, no objection.
All right, then Petition Exhibit 1 is admitted. Mr. Aquino, now it's now your opportunity to testify in support of the petition. Is that your desire? Would you like to testify?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to swear you in. If you could raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly state, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you so much. You can put your hand down. You've already spelled your name for us previously. At first, I'm going to give you an opportunity. You don't have an attorney to ask you questions here today, so I'm just going to let you testify freely. Anything you believe is relevant concerning your petition. Bear in mind that you don't need to repeat everything that's already in the petition packet. The board has that in front of them. It's been admitted and can be considered, but you're welcome to emphasize any portions you'd like. And again, we're focused mainly on your rehabilitation today and the conduct since your license was revoked. And then once you're done with your testimony, Ms. Petticini may have some questions for you, and the board members may have questions.
Okay, Your Honor. My question is, would you like me to, just go ahead and maybe answer her questions?
You can proceed in whichever way you would like, sir. That's fine. If you want to answer, I think it might be helpful, and the questioning, certainly that Ms. Petticini alluded to earlier on, it would be helpful to know how your criminal case resolved. In other words, when you finished your sentence and all that for that, and then also tell us how this immigration case fit into that. In other words, I think the main question is, are those based on the original criminal conduct and convictions, or was this a new conviction that led to the immigration case? That would be helpful for us to know, and then how that all resolved. But again, I'm not telling you how to present your case, but if that's something you'd like to address, I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yes. My main reason is, I filed this reinstatement for license petition for a rehearing is because I was given the opportunity to be released, like the Attorney General was saying, I did get convicted for the crime for 2 years, and I'm ashamed of it, and I really apologize, and I really want to say to the board, thank you for this opportunity to be able to come up to the judge and to the board to give me a second chance, because I was granted a second chance, not only in state court but also in federal court, which is the criminal court and immigration court. What I'm trying to do is little by little, I'm trying to get something going for me, because as we can see, my background, it's really difficult for me to obtain employment. I've tried almost everywhere. So I decided to file for a reinstatement of my applicator's license, because I found out when I did my taxes that I owed like $7,000 or $8,000, and I was like, well, why do I owe that? And it was because I had a license, and I told them, well, I was incarcerated in 2007 and 2008. So then that made me think, like, this is very important for me. I think I have something going for me here. I'm a try to file this and work towards it and get it granted. Currently, right now, I'm attending community college. I'm enrolled at Los Angeles Trade Tech. I'm taking a computer class. It's just a introduction to computers. It's something that I wanted to do because when I got out, I didn't even know how to use a cell phone. I didn't know, much less a laptop or a computer. And I wanted to go back and do that. And then I started learning, little by little, and started. But I did get a lot of help from people where I started to, get my driver's license back. My housing. It was a lot of things, to deal with and cope with. I did the crime. I paid for that crime. I did the 2 years. They gave me 2 years for the criminal conviction, but like the Attorney General was saying, they gave me an enhancement. And then after that time, I did a lot of rehabilitative, things in prison that I wanted to submit, but for whatever reason, I couldn't do it because I had to talk to the lawyers. I wasn't sure what I could send or what I can't send, because I've never been in a situation like this. This is my first time. But I did want to submit, the programs that I did in prison, a lot of AA meetings, because I did struggle with a lot of issues with alcoholism, drugs, and stuff like that at that time, back in 2006, 2007, when the crime happened. And so there's something that I learned from there that, and I wanted to present it to the court. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. Then I also had some other information that I wanted to present, because I've been trying to do community service. One of the reasons I went back to school is because I do want to get some type of certification in a paralegal area, like to help out other people, because being in there and being in immigration court, there's so many people that deserve second chances, or many people that have been hard workers, but for whatever the situation may have been at that time with that person, and they've made a mistake, and so many people need so much help. So I want to go back and I want to do this. I want to do this with the immigration, in the immigration field, and also do like a computer science major too at the same time. However, I know that I really would need to have something going for me, and this would be the chance. The second thing would be I'm working towards a pardon with the state of California, which is going to go to the governor, right, Greg Newsom. I'm trying to work on that, and hopefully I could get that pardon too, and then build up from there, because it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be tough. Now, I'm looking at the email that was sent, and it does have a few things, like, for example, it says efforts to maintain, upgrade professional skills and knowledge through continuing education and other methods. And so I'm trying to maybe continue taking certifications. I've called several schools for pest control, but they won't allow it if I don't have a license. They won't hire me, or they won't allow me to do training if my license has been suspended or has been revoked. So it's a little tough for me right now, and I'm working towards that. Now, let me see here. It says that it says the date rehabilitative efforts were initiated, and so it started from prison. Like the second year I was in prison, that's when I started doing. I even started taking community college in prison, and also I worked in prison, and so I can submit. Is there any way I can submit as soon as I get a hold of my lawyers to give me the paperwork? I can submit that information of all those efforts while I was in prison. Is that possible, Your Honor?
So, sir, the problem with that is that the board will be deliberating on your petition following the hearing today, so before any of that evidence is received. So that's why earlier on I discussed whether you were requesting a continuance or not. What I might suggest, not giving legal advice, but what I might suggest is you can describe for us in your testimony what some of the programs were you submitted. In other words, even though you don't have the documents here today, you can tell us about the programs you participated in prison, how long they were, what the content was, what effect that had on your life and your rehabilitation. The only other alternative is if you wanted to continue the matter to submit additional evidence, that means the matter would be continued to a future board meeting, which I think the next one isn't until next year, March. I'm sure the board can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was, it's not going to be for a while. So, you can either elect to proceed by explaining to us your rehabilitative programs you participated in, but if there's evidence you really believe you need to submit to the board, we won't be able to get that in today before they deliberate, which means the matter will have to be continued to another board hearing. And I, as the judge, I don't know even if there's availability at the next board meeting. They have certain quotas of petitions they hear. So that would be up to board staff. That's not up to me, or I can't give you that information now. But
yes, Your Honor, I understand. And you know what? I also want to thank the person at the Pest Control Board, Melissa, the person that's been assisting me. I've submitted the paperwork, and I have been telling her that I want to scan these documents and I want to send them via email, right? And she has been assisting me. She's been very helpful in helping me with that. However, I haven't submitted nothing at all. One thing that was very important to me was submit something that I got from one of the congresswomen, Roybal, because I went to go at one of the high schools to go volunteer and help people fill out citizenship applications, like mainly the elderly, the people that had been here for so many years. And we would go there to the school and fill out N400 immigration forms for them, and I was able to do that for a few times prior to the COVID. And, COVID stopped everything. So I really didn't have very much movement at that time. I really didn't have access to a computer. I didn't have, because everything was shut down. And I had to deal with, and I never want to share my own personal story, but my father passed away last year too. That's one of the reasons that everything slowed down for me. It was hard on financial, and it was hard on everything. When I first got out, which was August, 8th, 2019, one of the things that I did is I directly went to a rehabilitation center, which is called Health Right 360. in downtown LA, and I enrolled there. I was supposed to do a 1-year program, but I did a 6-month program. And there they have a very the way they have everything structured, set up. It really was good for me because I was able to, do more AA classes, NA classes, participate, get back into computers, type a little bit, try to learn all these things because everything was new to me. Just like I was telling my instructor in my community class when I came out, and I hadn't been out for 13 years because I went to go do out of the 12 years in state prison, I did about 10 years actually because it's at 85%. And then from there, because I am a legal citizen, right? I had my permanent residency, but due to the crime, I was held in immigration court to answer to these crimes in 2007. And so, yes, they were going to deport me, but the judge did not deport me. They gave me status, which is a work permit, I-766 card, and so that's why I'm able to do college. I'm able to have my driver's license. I'm able to rent a place to live at, and so when I started doing all these things, right, I was working towards getting everything done, but it was just a hold for a whole year and a half,
No,
but
I'm sorry to stop you, Mr. Aquino. I just want to make sure I'm clear. I don't think anyone faults you, and yes, there's been a lot of with COVID. It's been difficult. I think my question for you, as a threshold matter, is again, I'm hearing you say many times during the hearing, I would like to submit this, I would like to obtain this, etc. And I just want to be really clear. If we proceed with the hearing today, the board members, they can certainly consider your testimony about rehabilitative efforts and programs you participated in, but they're obviously not going to have the documents.
Correct.
So that's your option A, is go ahead today, tell us whatever you'd like under oath about what you participated in, and submit that as the record for the board to make their decision on. The alternative, which I'm not suggesting you need to do, I'm just making clear, your other procedural option is to request a continuance if you feel very strongly that you want to obtain documents from the Congresswoman and from the immigration court and from your prison rehabilitation programs. If you feel the board really needs to see the documentation, the only way you can do that is to request a continuance to a different hearing date, which could be several months from now. I just mentioned that as a practical reality to you. But I don't want you to feel compelled to go forward if you really feel you need those documents. But just understand that if that's what you request, the matter would be continued to a subsequent hearing. I can't tell you right now when that date will be. That will be up to board staff to determine based on when they next have availability. And in the meantime, you would have to go about requesting those documents and submitting them. So which option would you like to use? Would you prefer to continue today and just tell us under oath your programs as you have already, and probably will add more? Or do you wish to have the matter continued for you to get actual documentation?
Yes, Your Honor. It's really tough for me because I've always had an attorney try to assist me because I do struggle with certain things. Now, I want to continue because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste the person's time that has really helped me from the structural, sending me emails, sending me the forms, and I haven't done my other part, like by submitting the exhibits, because I wanted to have something for you to look at and have the board look at, because it's there in front of you, and it's been, stuff that I've completed, a lot of certificates. I have maybe about a whole stack, and it's maybe about 300 pages maybe that I did in prison. And I didn't want to submit all that because that's just, it's a lot of stuff, it's a lot. But then I think what counts is from when I got out, what I started doing, like getting my stuff together, learning, like I was saying from the beginning. But I want to proceed, Your Honor. I want to proceed.
All right, and that's my only question. I can't give you legal advice as to whether it's best for you to continue or whether it's best for you to continue. I just want to explain your procedural options to you, and then have you make an informed decision. So you understand that, if you request a continuance, then you'll have an opportunity to get documents, but obviously it would result in a delay for you in having your petition heard. Your other option is to proceed today and just present through testimony what you have, and then have that submitted to the board as a record for consideration. So knowing all that, is it your desire today to proceed with the hearing?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I just wanted to make sure we're clear on that, because
Yes, Your Honor.
so you are welcome to tell us about, as you have already, about programs you did during the prison. If you want to give us more specifics about the programs, how long they were, what they meant to you, or how you felt they contributed to your rehabilitation, now is your opportunity. Same with programs you participated in after you got out of prison, how that assisted your rehabilitation and what weight the board should give to that. So this is your opportunity. You're welcome to continue testifying.
Okay, Your Honor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I know I struggle with a little bit with a lot of things, and I'm under medication too, because when I went to prison, no guy wants to know that they have mental health issues. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I started talking to a therapist, started talking to psychologists, started talking to different doctors, and I struggle with a lot of things. I learned a lot. I got a lot of insight. That's one thing that I did.
I'm sorry, sir, but I have a follow-up. That's an important point you mentioned, and I have to follow up on that as a judge. So you mentioned that you're struggling because you're taking certain medications, and so that raises flags for me in terms of your ability to testify today. Are you under the influence of a substance? And I'm not suggesting an illegal substance. I'm just saying any medication that renders you unable to testify today or focus on the hearing.
Oh, yes. So I can focus, Your Honor. I can focus. The only thing that I right now I'm taking is like thyroid medication, but I'm talking to my psychiatrist right now, and he's gonna prescribe my old medication that I was taking because I was having difficulty concentrating and difficulty remembering things. Yes.
All right. So let me just follow up. So do you believe that you're able to focus, understand what's going on at the hearing, and be able to meaningfully testify and respond to questions asked of you at the hearing today?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
All right. And if that changes, you will let me know. Correct, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
I understand. So, like I was saying, and so I what I was trying to do is kind of have like a timeline from when I got out from prison, which was August 2019. When I paroled, because I was on parole for a while because they were supervising me because they wanted to see what I was gonna do. So I was always getting drug tested, alcohol tested. I was always being watched, under parole supervision. And so I checked into Health Right 360, which is it's a program where I was staying and I was doing different programs, and even education. And so I did that for 6 months. And at this time, I'm trying to get my driver's license back. I'm trying to get my Social Security back, right? I'm trying to get everything legit, my work permit, a place to stay, and everything else, everything that I was trying to do. My taxes, which is very important. I learned that I need to pay my taxes, and just be a good citizen, and be an asset to my community, because I wasn't at that time when these crimes happened, at that time. And I don't want to get into that. I don't want to explain why, or unless you want insight, unless you want me, to say more on that, if you want me to speak on that more. But Your Honor.
Sir, I don't have a question for you about that, but some of the board members may do, or Ms. Petitioner may do. So it's completely up to you if you want to share the circumstances that led to your convictions or not. Sometimes that can be helpful if there's extenuating or mitigating circumstances involved. But if you don't deem it necessary, then we'll just wait and see if the other people have questions for you about it.
Yes. When I got my license, when I first got my applicator's license, I was very happy because I was able to get a stable job, something that really helped, me move up because I wanted to even have my own business. And so I remember when I was even, doing, I'm not supposed to say no names and stuff like that, but I was going out there and doing my work for important people, and I was there, and everything was good. However, mentally, I think I was going through a lot at that time, and I started drinking and using drugs, and it got me into a situation where I committed a crime, and then my license was suspended, right? But it's just so many things that I would like to share. I don't think that this would be appropriate for me to share right now at this time. I just I think it would be better if we could just move on to the questions.
Certainly, sir, no problem. And Ms. Petticini may have questions for you, the board members, and then I'll let you circle back at the end because you're representing yourself. If there's anything that comes to mind that you might have left out or that you think is important, I'll give you a final opportunity before we close the record at the end.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Petticini, do you have questions for Mr. Aquino?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. Aquino, the questions I'm going to ask you circle back to your rehabilitative efforts, because those are the factors that the board those factors are the factors that are going to be most important to the board in examining whether or not the public would be safe if your license were reinstated. So to start, I wanted to ask you about, just for clarity for the record, if you could explain the circumstances that led to you going to immigration.
Okay, yes. What had happened is, once, because I'm not a U.S. citizen, I was a permanent resident. And you have that information. You know how when it was first submitted, you, actually, it has my, it's kind of like your driver's license. It's a number, it's a 9-digit, you can say identification number from immigration.
Okay.
And so I was a permanent resident at the time. I never became a U.S. citizen. Everybody in my family is a U.S. citizen except me. And what happened is I was held under that aggravated offense. In federal court, I think they call it theft or burglary.
Right.
And a state court, I believe it's 211. A second degree, not to minimize, because I'm really ashamed, to even talk about it, but I've learned to talk about it because I know that I've made a mistake and that can happen again, because it not only affected me, but it affected my family. For example, I was away from home. I hadn't seen my dad for maybe about 13 years. And so when I got out in 2019, I went to the program, and when I was able to live with him too, for about 3 months before he passed away. So, I really blame myself, for acting the way that I acted at that time when I was intoxicated on drugs and not thinking right. And I had a good job too, a good paying job, and just to you work so hard, and then one day you can just lose everything, and that's what happened to me. And so now I've learned to appreciate. Now that's why I'm coming to the board, and I'm asking for a second chance. I just felt that I wasn't really prepared like I'm supposed to. I've always been represented by a lawyer. I'm representing myself today. And I know that I have to submit exhibits because there has to be evidence.
I'm sorry, Mr. Aquino. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just if we could just focus first of all on the immigration court case. I just want you to only answer what that case was about, and then I have some more questions for you. We can get into your rehabilitative effort, but let's make sure everyone is clear that, for example, if you could address whether there were any new law violations or if that.
No, there is no new convictions. No new convictions. No new convictions. It's the same case. I really couldn't believe it. And everything I went through in federal court, it has humbled me down. It has really humbled me down because when I was in federal detention, there was a lot of people getting deported from all over the world. I mean, I met a lot of people, people from Jewish people from Israel, and people from Poland, Africa, Mexico, Salvador, different nationalities, different backgrounds, different, but I don't want to get into that right now. I just want to say that I wanted to explain that it was the same case.
Okay.
From 2007.
And
yes.
that immigration matter has been resolved and closed. Is that correct?
No, ma'am, it hasn't been closed, but it has been resolved because I went to a federal judge. Well, my lawyer was the one that, helped me, assisted me, in that area. They granted me status to stay here. They gave me a type of asylum, so I have a work permit. I have a driver's license. I have my social security. I have my, I've been trying to establish my credit. I've been working towards, my goals that I've been trying to do, go back to normal.
Sure.
In fact, it's so much I'm trying to do. Because I am also trying to get married. I'm trying to all kinds of things. Live a normal life, for people, I don't know, just be a law-abiding citizen too, and do everything right and not take shortcuts, because that's one thing that, really taught me that, all this time.
I'm really looking forward to hearing more details about the kinds of things that you've done, but just so we can kind of put a period after this topic and move forward. When you say that no, it hasn't been closed, could you please explain what you mean by that?
Yes, ma'am. The reason it hasn't been closed because I'm still under a form of supervision with immigration. I have to go every year to go and check in. And then every year I have to also pay to get it reinstated. Every year I have to pay a certain amount of money to get my card reinstated, because I have to renew it every year. And then every year I have to go check in with ICE. And so it's not resolved, because my thing is, eventually I want to become a permanent resident again, or if I do get married, become a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
But I know right now, my focus right now is I'm trying to, tonight at 6:30, I have a virtual clinic with the New Way of Life. It's a program that's assisting people in expunging their records. But I know that's not gonna help me out so much. I'm still gonna do it, and I want to learn. I know that I have to file a motion to vacate my conviction under a different penal code, but I'm trying to get legal help with that, because I know lawyers that's what they do. That's their work. So I want to get assistance on doing that, and I'm working on that tonight.
Okay.
Now also, I'm also working on my pardon, and that's the reason that I went back to school. and I'm doing community service. But because of the COVID, I know that I don't want to blame it just on the COVID. I know it was really difficult for me to move around or communicate or do things that I'm little by little doing now. And so
it's been really hard for all of us. So I applaud you for making those efforts. Mr. Aquino, I'd like to turn your attention back to your progress in prison. You mentioned that you had obtained a number of certificates and addressed your substance abuse issues while you were in prison. Is that right?
yes, ma'am.
So I'd like you, if you would, to just talk about the 3 most valuable programs you attended while you were in prison. Just tell us about 3 of them for right now, if you could. And then once the judge indicated, you're more than welcome to talk about more things once you're done with questions. But for right now, please just tell us about 3 programs in prison and how they impacted you.
Okay, I think one of the most important that has really helped me out is the spiritual side. Like I didn't even know, because when I went to prison, I started taking community college, and then I always thought it's always about like mentally and physically, right? But I didn't even know like I had a spiritual side. And so one of the programs that really helped me out in prison was I would say church. Church is something that really helped me, because I learned from a lot of people, different religions, different backgrounds. And there was one point when I was sitting at a room with somebody that was Catholic, and then a Christian, and then a Jehovah's Witness, and then a Mormon, different denominations, and we would sit in a room together, and we would come together, and we'll try to make we'll try to agree on just to focus on stuff that we had in common, and then I started learning, and that's one thing that I really appreciated, because you're in a place with different people from different backgrounds, different religious beliefs, different political beliefs, different, and so that right there really helped me build spirituality. We started discussing about God, and even in the steps it talks about it. That there's a great a higher power. And whatever higher power it is that's going to help you, achieve it, and you have to have faith and believe it. And so that's one thing that I can share with you that really has helped me. And I really went too deep. I really started like, okay, well, where does this belief come from? Where, one example, like, I learned that, okay, well, who wrote, cause me, originally, I'm from Mexico. I was born in Mexico. They brought me here when I was about 4 years old. And, in Mexico, we didn't believe in the Bible. They believed in other things. And so when I got here, my mom, she was Catholic, and then she became Christian. And then, while I was in prison, I started even learning from my roots, from my background. Aztec roots, right? They believed in other gods, and I questioned it. I really got into the Bible, started learning how it originated, how original manuscripts were, Hebrew and then Greek. And I got into that, that really helped me so much, because I think that if I would have been out here, I would have never gotten into that, And so now I learned, and it has helped me with my addiction. It has helped me with my relationship. It has helped me with my father's passing. He passed away last year. That has been really difficult for me, because I could have gotten out of control, but I thank God, which is my higher power, that I didn't go out of control. I was able to maintain, I was able to handle, the situation. And so one thing I really learned is about spirituality. And that's another thing I want to do out here. share with the youth, young people, and go out. And that's why I was trying to do community service, but it was really difficult for me because, to the situation with COVID. The places I volunteer at are like
Aquino, I want to hear about that, but I'm just trying to kind of go in progression.
Okay.
So I do want to hear about your community service, and I will ask about that. But
Yes.
For right now, you've given me a summary of one program that assisted you, one area of focus that assisted you while you were in prison. So let's just talk about two more programs in prison that impacted you.
Yes, the next one I would say is education, school, because believe it or not, in prison, if you want to get into a different type of vocation, like if you want to get into any type of vocation, like whether it be auto mechanics, wastewater treatment, different programs like that, you can do it. And I decided to get into I did a little bit of community college. I wanted to go back and even learn Spanish, even learn my Spanish and English. Try to focus on working on my grammar, on communication, because I'm gonna go back to like I was telling you, I wasn't born here, right? I was born in Mexico, and when I got here to the United States, I didn't speak English or I didn't speak Spanish. I spoke I spoke a dialect, which is an indigenous dialect, very different from English or Spanish. And so I had to learn Spanish, and I actually learned English first before I learned Spanish. And so when I went back to school, I started looking into languages, looking into the dialect that I spoke, and also Spanish, English. So I focused on that too. I would think the education was the second area for me, where I try to educate myself, and not only with school, with a lot of things, like I didn't know that I struggle with mental, but I learned that while I was in there because I was able to get therapy and I did sessions, and that's one thing that really assisted me. I think educating myself and learning that that I needed help too, and so a lot of the help came from psychologists and also people from different religious backgrounds, because I spoke to a lot of people, like maybe about because I would speak to maybe like a elder that was a Mormon, a Jewish rabbi, a Catholic priest.
Mr. Aquino, this is Judge Van Rooyen. Again, I so appreciate, I echo Ms. Petticini's, we want concerns, we want to hear about this, but for us to kind of orderly process the information you're sharing, if you can just kind of focus on answering Ms. Petticini's narrow question. And then again, I promise you at the end, I'm going to turn to you. If Ms. Petticini doesn't do it, I'll turn to you and say, now, sir, is there anything else you'd like to add? And then I'll let you add additional information. But right now, Ms. Petticini's only asking you about the educational program. She's not asking you about who you had conversations with and what you learned from the conversations. She's asking you about 3 programs. I've heard you mention the spiritual programs. I've heard you mention education. And I think you're about to tell us perhaps a 3rd one.
Yes, Your Honor, and thank you, and I'm sorry, and thank you for everybody for being patient with me. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry for that. Yes, after spirituality, education, AA programs, NA programs, they had a program called SAP, which stands for Substance Abuse Program. Those programs really assisted me because, I was able to learn why I was getting intoxicated. Why was I under the influence? Why was I doing this? Why was I always trying to fill the void? And it goes back to what happened, during childhood. There's so many things, Your Honor, and I don't want to get into it, but that's one thing. That's another area that really helped me. AA, NA.
Great. I'm really glad, Mr. Aquino, that you brought up AA and NA, because I was curious about whether you're currently attending AA and NA.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I did 2 Zoom meetings I'm trying to go to like in person, you know, in person. Because I was talking to somebody, you know, I know that, and I know that, you know, sometimes, like, you know, the honorable judge was earlier today, he said about being on camera, you know, because I think it does make an impact, you know, like when you're in person, because you're there with other people that struggle with the same addiction or situation you're in. And so I have done AA meetings. That's why I wanted to submit a list of all the meetings that I attended. I have a whole, you know, a whole stack, you know, of signatures that, you know, where people get up and, you know, and that's one thing that I wanted to submit, but I can't at this time.
Okay, Mr. Aquino, but that's okay, because I'm going to ask you about that now. So all you need to do is answer my questions, and then the board will have what it needs. Imagine that your testimony is taking the place of the signed forms. But I think most of us know exactly what you mean by the signed forms, so we can visualize that. So I'm just going to ask you a few more questions about AA and NA, okay?
Sure.
Often on a typical week do you attend AA and NA?
On a typical day, on a regular day, do I attend AA or NA?
No, during a week, in a typical week, so 7 days, how many days do you typically attend AA or NA?
Okay. Currently, right now, I think I've been doing it maybe like once every 2 weeks, but I was doing it twice a week. And in fact, when I was in the program, AA was 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay.
So
how long ago was it that you were attending 3 or 4 times a week?
This is about before the COVID.
Okay. Do you currently have a sponsor?
Yes, I do.
And could you just tell me your sponsor's first name?
Yes, my sponsor, his name is Eddie Lane. Okay. This is a person that I met in Bakersfield, which when I was incarcerated, that has really been a support system to me. And he checks up on me a lot. Like, he tells me, like, okay, you know, AA meeting. So I tell him, look, so I've been telling him lately, I told him, you know, look, I haven't had, if I can show you, that's why I wanted to submit the exhibits. Right. I just got my laptops maybe about not even a month ago.
Okay, I'm so glad you have that support, because it makes a big difference. I'm also wondering what step you're on.
Oh, what step? Well, it's different steps, you know. I mean, we go from the first step. Actually, I had a book that was it's devotional. It has the actual step, and you know, it has like a Bible verse, you know, as something really, really good for me that I need to start doing again, because honestly, I haven't been consistent. I just recently had a midterm. I had a midterm recently, and I had to really study for that midterm because I was a little behind. I didn't.
Mr. Aquino, wait, you're going way off topic again. The question from Ms. Petitioner is, what step of AA are you currently working on?
Look, I can say that I'm working on the 8th step, you know, but we go back and do the first step, the second step, the third step, the fourth step, you know.
Okay, Mr. Aquino, and what does the 8th step involve?
For example, like making amends, you know, when you've harmed somebody, you know, it's something that I'm working towards, you know, which is difficult, you know, because I've been harmed. You know, I learned that I you know, my childhood, like I really don't want to talk about my childhood because it's difficult for me too, because I've always held it inside. But now I've learned that I need to share it so other people can learn from that, you know.
Right.
And,
okay.
Mr.
Aquino, so my next question has to do with when you were released from prison. You indicated that you were on parole for several years. How many years?
Well, I was on parole for 6 months because they see my progress. Let me tell you what happened.
Okay, but Aquino, right now, please just follow my questions so we can move forward. And then I promise you can, include as much as you want after, but please just hear my question and respond to it. And then I'll ask you another one.
Fine. Okay? I was on parole for 6 months.
Okay. And what programs were you attending while you were on parole?
Well, I was at the program at Health Right 360.
Okay. And again, what was Health Right 360? Is that the mental health program?
No, it's not mental health. It's for it's for people that have paroled recently and need to and I did this voluntarily. Because I didn't want to go, but like you said, I don't want to talk about it too much. They have drug programs, they have AA meetings, they have NA meetings, they have, different types of activities. I do have a letter from them that I did want to submit, but I couldn't do it.
Okay, so you were on parole for 6 months and you attended that one voluntary program, the Health Right 360. Did you attend any programs that were required?
Ma'am, I didn't attend. I was living there. I was living at Health Right 360. I lived there. That was my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it provided a lot of supportive programs for you with AA and NA and so.
Yes, we were on rotation. We were taking different, we were even taking counseling. We were taking, all types of, positive programs to build you up. There was even a computer class too to learn how to type, how to work on your resume. There was also all kinds. They had culinary. They had, different types of programs. I mean, do you want me to see if I can get the letter from Health Right?
That's okay, sir. That's okay. We're talking about those things now, so that's how we're documenting them. I appreciate your just moving forward with me with the questions. You mentioned earlier, Mr. Aquino, that you were on medication and that's related to mental health issues. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Right now, currently, I'm taking, stuff for my thyroids. I caught coxy, lung problems that I had. And so that's why during the COVID, I had to be quarantined. I couldn't really move around per my doctor's orders. I couldn't. The only source of income that I had was, unemployment insurance due to the pandemic.
Right.
So, and so right now, I have this very large bill that, I need to help out, and I really wanted to get my license back because I want to get back to work.
I hear you. Now, Mr. Aquino, you mentioned that you're currently under a psychiatrist care. Is that correct?
Under psychologist, and the psychiatrist, they're still thinking about if they're gonna prescribe, my medication again. But it's something that right now I'm talking to the psychologist about.
Okay, and what medication were you on previously?
Previously I was on Risperdal and different medication.
Okay, and are you currently in counseling where you have an opportunity to talk to someone regularly? You mentioned
yeah, a therapist. I have a therapist, but just like anything, they kind of shut it down. They wanted to do just via Zoom. I was going to Kedron here in LA.
Okay. So do you currently have a therapist or no?
Yes, I do. It's not somebody that I talk to regularly. They switch up because it's a public. It's Kedron Community Health. Okay. So I have different therapists, but I'm sure if you want to look at the medical records, it should be there.
Okay. So, Mr. Aquino, from the time that you were released from parole, which I believe was 2009?
2019?
2019?
Yes. Yeah, that's what the judge said earlier. That, because I heard that and I wanted to say something, but the judge caught it. He noticed the date, the year.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Aquino. I was referring back to the criminal charges, and I believe you said you were on parole for 6 months.
Correct. Yeah, but the criminal charges were in 2008.
Right. So were you released from parole in 2008?
No, ma'am. What happened is, I'm speaking to the Attorney General, right?
Yes, and Mr. Aquino, I'm not referring to the 2019 immigration matter. We've resolved that. We've talked about that. I'm going back to the 11. That's what
yes.
Your Honor, there's some background. Excuse me a moment for interrupting. This is a court. There's some background noise that's making it nearly impossible to hear him.
Yes, I heard a phone ring. If everyone can make sure, I don't know if it's coming from you, Mr. Aquino, but if you can make sure all other phones are turned off, I want everyone to have full attention to this hearing.
Yes.
No other phones or text messages or anything like that, okay?
Yeah, I don't have no, let me turn off my phone. Just let me make sure that. But hold on just a second. It's on silent. My phone's on silent.
All right, I should have reminded you of that at the beginning, so I don't fault you for it, but please make sure the phone is silent or turned off. And even if it's silent, if there's text messages coming through, I don't want you reading text messages or doing anything else. I want you fully focused on this hearing and responding to Ms. Petticini's questions right now. And also, we don't want the excess sounds because our court reporter can't take it down.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. I'm sorry. Okay, so the Attorney General was asking me that what happened in 2009 on parole. No. I wasn't on parole. I was in 2000. I caught my case in 2007, and I was being convicted around that time, 2008. So there's no way I was on parole. When I was on parole was in 2019. When I got out, I was on parole. I was on parole for, they were supposed to give me parole for 3 years. Yeah, they're what's it called? Hold on just a
1 second, stop everyone. Ms. Petticini, were you trying to say something? Because you're sounding muted.
No, I wasn't trying to say something, Your Honor. I'm going to try to break this down with respondent. I'm sorry, with petitioner. So, Mr. Aquino, before you say anything else, let's just go back to the 211. I understand that the underlying event occurred in 2007 and that you were convicted of that on or about October 17th, 2007. You were sentenced to 2 years in prison. Is that correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay.
That's correct, ma'am. And
then wait, please wait. And then after you served those 2 years, what did you do next? Did you go on parole at that point? What did you do next?
No. After I completed my 10-year sentence out of the 12 years,
hold on, please hold on. So you weren't incarcerated for just 2 years. You were incarcerated for 10 years. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
I was incarcerated, yes. Well, because I was explaining earlier that I did 85% from the 12 years.
Okay, because of the enhancement. Is that right?
Yes, because of the enhancement, because of the gun enhancement, because I had a gun, yes.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that for me, because I was obviously not clear on that. So thank you for your patience on that.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if you wanted to hear some insight that I wanted to share.
No, that's not necessary.
Your Honor, would you please get them to stop talking over each other?
All right.
I don't have that time.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Yes, I'm just going to remind the parties, just make sure you wait till the question's completely done before you start your answer, Mr. Aquino. And by the same token, Ms. Petticini will wait until your answer's done, Mr. Aquino, before she asks her next question. The reason for that is our court reporter has a really hard time recording 2 people talking at the same time. So we want to avoid that. We want space between the question and the answer.
Your Honor, I apologize. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't mean to interrupt you, but one issue that I've been having is that the response I feel like I need to interrupt in order to keep the process moving forward. So that's one of the challenges. I fully understand, and I apologize to the court reporter, but I don't know how else to intervene.
Yes, I understand that, and I've had to intervene once or twice myself, so I understand that. But again, I'm trying to, Mr. Aquino, we're not holding it against you. We know it's you're not used to testifying, and this is a new procedure for everyone. And you're nervous probably, so I completely get that. Let me just make sure, what Ms. Petticini is saying. She feels she has to jump in at some point because you don't quite take a breath and you just continue. So what I want to remind you is just answer the narrow question. If if Ms. Petticini asks you, do you know what the time is? The answer is not, it's 9 o'clock. The answer is yes or no. And then she can follow up with, and what is the time? 9 o'clock. So keep it very narrow. Don't go in long narratives so that she or I have to stop you and say, let's get back on track. And then that way we won't have you talking over each other. Again, at the end, sir, I'm going to give you an opportunity to add anything you like, because I understand that sometimes there might be thoughts in your head as you're answering a question that you want to add something. Take a pen. If you have a pen and paper there, you can even jot it down, and right at the end you can add that. But let's just stay focused on the question. Before I turn it over to Ms. Petticini, I just want to make sure I understand. Could you tell us when exactly you were released from prison and started serving the 6 months parole so that we have the timeline?
Thank you.
Mr. Aquino, you're up. You can speak if you'd like.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize to the court reporter too, and to everybody. You're right. You're right. You pretty nailed it, Judge. You said I do get nervous. There's a lot. I've always had a lawyer help me. So thank you for the patience and thank you for explaining. And I'll try to do that. It's hard for me to, sometimes I'm not gonna say I can't concentrate or I can't. I'll try. I'm gonna try my best. I am gonna do it. Thank you.
That's fine, sir. That's fine. And just take a deep breath and slow down and just answer the narrow questions. And again, as I said, I understand it's hard. Lots of people represent themselves in these petition hearings, and I'm trying to cut you as much slack as I can because I want you to present the merits of your petition. I don't want you to be tripped up by technicality. That's why I'm reminding you, not because I'm trying to admonish you, but just to try and make sure we keep things on track and that we get all the information we need for your petition. So if you could just quickly answer my question before I turn you back to Ms. Petticini. Can you tell us when you left prison, when you were released from prison, month and year if you can, and then when you started your 6 months of parole?
Yes, I was released from prison approximately February 6th, like on or about, 2017.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Petticini, you can continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Aquino, after you were released from prison in 2017 and then completed parole, did you continue to abstain from drug and alcohol use?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And have you had any criminal convictions or have you been arrested for any criminal issues since that time?
I don't have no convictions. I did get arrested this year around March of 2021, and it was something that the cops came, they ran my record. They said, you've been in trouble with the law before, so we're gonna take you in just to fingerprint you. And yes, I was arrested because and then the case was dropped because there was really nothing there. It was just because I had been incarcerated in the past. And it was understandable. It made me realize, like, I was like, I really need to start pushing. Okay, I want to answer your question. Sorry about that. I drift away, sorry.
No, that's okay. I am curious about the underlying events that led to the police arresting you. I understand that they ran your record, but why were they called to the scene initially?
It was, I believe it was because of domestic dispute.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And was that domestic dispute with the woman that you spoke of marrying?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, also, since your release from prison in 2017, have you held any employment? Have you been employed?
Yes, I have been employed. Since 2017, I've worked for different agencies. I've worked for Reliable Resources, but I just want to answer your questions. I have worked, yes.
Okay, no, and thank you, Mr. Aquino, for answering just the question asked. I appreciate that. But I would like to hear about where you've been employed since 2017 and what those jobs involved.
Okay. The first project that I worked on was remodeling my aunt's house. It was, and that's one of the reasons, but I'm just going to answer the question because I want to get back into termite control. I want to do the termite, because we had to remodel my aunt's house. And, the wood, the framing, the drywall, the paint, the, plumbing, electrical, all that, I helped her with that. And then I also worked for Reliable Resources at a warehouse. I also worked for Randstad, working at Fashion Nova. Those are Fashion Nova.
What's the name of the company, please?
Fashion Nova.
Oh, thank you.
And it's in Santa Fe Springs. Now, I've also worked other construction jobs. But I really would like to go back to the line of work I was doing, which is the pest control.
Okay. And were you fired from any of those jobs?
No. The remodeling of the house, I think, lasted about maybe like 4 months.
Okay.
And that I assisted my aunt on that, but it's more like helping her out.
Okay.
And also Reliable Resources, the assignment ended. And then the last time I worked was back in 2020, like March, April 2020, when really the COVID, went into like when it was really, really bad.
And what were you doing at that time? What job were you holding in 2020?
I was working for Reliable Resources.
Okay.
In East LA, yes.
And what were you doing for Reliable Resources?
I was working at a warehouse, like picking and packing.
Okay. And why did the job end?
Due to COVID.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to your application, you are currently not employed. Is that correct?
Yes, that's why I said my last was March, April 2020.
Okay. How are you currently supporting yourself?
Through unemployment insurance pandemic.
Okay. Now, you've testified earlier, Mr. Aquino, that you recognize that part of what led to the robbery were some underlying drug and alcohol issues. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm wondering what efforts you're currently making to ensure that the same circumstances don't arise again.
Yes, ma'am. I am educating myself. I am doing AA meetings. I'm not doing it consistently. I do have a list of of all my attendances. I'm also being more spiritually, like for example, on the weekends, I know I can go to the church. Like the spiritual is very important, I think. So I'm doing spiritual. Like I'll watch like core church in West LA. Pastor Steve Wilburn. I do that live stream. I mean, I just had my laptop, maybe not even a month, but I really been busy too. Trying to catch up.
Okay.
On a
And
lot.
on the date that you were arrested, but then I understand the charges were dismissed, did alcohol or drugs play a role on that evening?
No.
And Mr. Aquino, you did testify about some work you've done on behalf of community groups. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I've done community service at Esteban Contreras High School. In
Could you spell that, please?
Esteban, Esteban Contreras, Contreras.
Thank you.
It's in East LA on Cesar Chavez. And so I've done community service there. I've done community service for COFEM, which is the Veteran Mexican Council. Like I was saying earlier, I was filling out N400 applications, which are citizenship applications. I've also gone to Harvest, like where it's a food bank where I've helped out. I also have done community service for Health Right 360. Right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go back to, the place where I was doing community service, Harvest Food Bank, and I was supposed to go today, but I told them that I was going to go tomorrow. I was going to go volunteer from 8 a.m. to 12 because I think that's something very important that I got to do.
And when you're volunteering at Harvest Food Bank, what are you actually doing?
Pretty much just helping out with, taking out everything that gets donated from, that people that bring donations, or organize that, put it on the shelves, take out the old stuff, pretty much kind of like working at a grocery store.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
Well, I did volunteer there since I left the program at Health Right 360. So I'm gonna say November. Let me see. Maybe the last time I volunteered was like, I think January of 2020.
Okay. So you're not currently volunteering there?
No, I'm supposed to go there tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But the last time you were there was January 2020.
Yes, the last time I was there was yes, like January 2020. Yes.
Now, Mr. Aquino, I just have a couple more questions for you, and these relate back to the original violations, the 211s. You did testify earlier that you experience or you feel a great deal of shame related to those, to that incident. And it is true that one of the issues the board will be looking at is what your attitude is towards the commission of that original violation. So if you could expand a little bit about what you learned,
okay.
And why you felt ashamed.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Yes. I recently spoke to one of my ex-employers, and they were willing to hire me back as long as I get my license back, because they told me that my crime did not happen at one of these establishments. Like I used to go do restaurants, and also I can't say whose house I used to go do, or I can't say where I used to, but I'm gonna say some important people, and then also restaurants, and so he told me, can you tell me what exactly happened? And I told him, well, I'll show you my paperwork. And he said, that's fine. He said, I don't have a problem with that. That happened outside of the job that you were doing. And I don't have a problem with that. He said, I know that if anything, I'm gonna have to bond you and you can work for me, but I need you to have the license, you know? And so the reason I say that is because at that time, during the commission of the crimes, you know, I wasn't thinking right because I was high. I was using drugs. I was drinking and not being responsible. But I've learned that, you know, like I was trying to explain earlier, like sometimes I felt I have to like numb my pain or fill that void. And in the past, I've chosen to get high and drink. You know, when now I can just go with my girlfriend and just, you know, even if I have to go to McDonald's and just have a cup of coffee and just have a conversation, you know, I don't have to do all these things that, you know, my mom and my father never taught me that, you know. And so like it goes back to like, well, why were you carrying a gun? You know, I grew up in the area like in South Central. I'm in East LA now, you know, and I stay away from a lot of trouble because, you know, the gangbanging is still out here. When I grew up, you had to be part of where I grew up, you know, and during the time, you know, in the 80s and the 90s and in downtown LA, you know, I was just sharing with my girlfriend the other day that I must have gotten jumped maybe like numerous times, a lot of times, to be you know, involved with a gang. And so now the reason I'm ashamed is because my parents never taught me that. You know, they taught me good moral values. And even till now, like sometimes my mom will ask me, how are you doing? What is it that you're doing with yourself? You know, are you drinking? Are you getting high? I'm like, no, I'm not, Mom. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to do my community college. I've just taken one class now, but I'm planning on taking a few classes online next semester, you know, and I'm still trying to figure out where I'm gonna work because I really need something going for me. I need a job too, you know, to pay the bills because I just can't, you know, because I know I can't be on idle time. I have to keep my mind busy too with positive things. And so if I'm not doing community college, I might be doing something spiritual or helping somebody out, or that's very important. That's very important. I think you always have to give back to the community because that's one thing that I've learned is very important, you know, because I'm like, what am I doing for my community? I'm not doing nothing. So I need to get started on that too, more. Yes, I'm really ashamed of my crime because and I feel like I owe an apology to everybody, including the board, including the honorable judge, you know, the attorney general, everybody that you know that made this possible. Because it's nothing to be proud of. It's nothing to be excited about. You know, it's something that I keep my head down. You know, like I feel bad, but I gotta also be thinking positive. I know that there's a lot of things that when I got out were shut down for me, but I did that to myself. I was the one that made that choice at that time, and now I know that I just gotta move forward. I have to. You know, pursue my goals, you know, what I really want to do. I'm very excited with the community college because they've assisted me so much. Somebody that really wants help, that wants to get educated, they really assisted me so much. I'm getting back onto the laptop. Like I really don't even know things. Just last night I was going over unit 4 of my class, you know, which describes the web, you know, internet, the web, the World Wide Web, history on it. Like it's very interesting to me. It's something that I want to pursue along with
all right, Mr. Aquino, sorry, this is Judge Van Rooyen. I'm just going to cut you off there again because I think we're straying a little bit from Ms. Pedicini's question. Ms. Pedicini, you can ask your next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. My next question would actually just be if there's anything else Mr. Aquino would like the board to consider.
Thank you, Mr. Aquino, and I promised you that you would get, so I'm sorry I just cut you off there. If you want to continue that thought or anything else you'd like the board to know about and consider, as Ms. Pedicini asked, please go ahead, sir.
Yes. It takes like I was saying earlier, like you work so hard and then one day or you could lose it all. Like I'm making an attempt. I'm trying my best to I was able to get my driver's license back. I was able to get my social security. Stuff that sometimes like we take for granted. And those are very important things. Burying my dad. Financial burden. That's why now. Like I thought, I don't want to get into that because I have a lot to say on that. I just know that right now, I'm just asking for compassion, for the judge, for the board if they can help me out, get my license reestablished. One chance to do that, to be able to get work, because I went to go work at a place and at doing construction, and I didn't even get paid for like a whole week, and I'm still trying to collect my pay. I have to pay bills and stuff like that. So it's difficult sometimes, when that happens. It's never happened to me before like that, when nobody didn't pay me. But now I know that I've talked to 2 potential employers. One of them is ASAP, Pest Control, and I have looked into like Orkin and Western, and I just spoke to somebody yesterday from Revolution Pest Control, and they told me the same thing, as if I'm licensed, that I'd be able to work for them. And so I think work right now is important for me. Work and school are very important for me. If not, I'm just going to be continued to be working in agencies, temporary agencies, and it's nothing stable. I would like something stable where I can go work, every day. I know that I need to work because, I have to pay my bills, and it's very important for me and my family, because now that I'm out here, they really assisted me when I was in there. And then I know I don't have to assist my mom, but I want to be able to do that for her and for my family here. I have nothing else to add, Your Honor. I have nothing else to add.
Thank you, Mr. Aquino. I appreciate your testimony. And so now I'm going to turn to the board members, because just so you're clear, Mr. Aquino, I'm the judge. I'm running the hearing here today, but actually the board members are going to be the ones that will be making the decision on your hearing. I'm just here to conduct the procedural hearing. So it's very important we get their questions addressed. These petitions are decided by the board, not by the judge. So let me turn to our board members and see if they have any questions. Starting with you, Mr. Good, did you have any questions for the petitioner?
Your Honor, this is the court reporter.
Yes.
May we take a short break, please? We've been going about an hour and a half or more.
Yes, we can take a very short break. I don't want to take a long break because I know the board is probably already running behind its agenda. So let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back at 11:10.
5 minutes?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right, everyone, I have 11:10. Ms. Petitini, are you back with us?
I am, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Aquino, are you still with us?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and Mr. Patterson, are you back with us? Mr. Patterson, are you back with us? All right, we'll wait for the court reporter.
Are we back?
Let's check. Mr. Patterson, have you joined us?
Hello, I'm just sitting down now.
Oh, no, I asked about 2 minutes back if you were on. Did you not hear that?
I did not hear you, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Apologies to the board members for. All right, let's go back on the record.
Yes.
All right, we are back on the record. It is 11:12 a.m. after our brief break. And I just want the record to be clear. Before we left off, I mentioned that the board might be running behind schedule. Mr. Aquino, by no means am I attributing that to you as anything to any of that being your fault, or not is that held against you in any way whatsoever. It was just a logistical comment as to that we should take a shorter break so that we can move things along. But none of that should be construed as you being rushed or that it's being held against you. We want to make sure we have all the evidence we need to decide your petition. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to the board members. Mr. Good, did you have any questions for Mr. Aquino?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. This is Curtis Good. Mr. Aquino, I really do not have a question for you, more of a comment and observation here. Melissa had sent you out guidelines for your petition for today's reinstatement. And I have a recommendation that you please review that and pick 4 or 5 of those items on there and then document it and send that to the board next time before you come before the board. I'm not suggesting that you won't be reinstated today, but documentation is extremely important for the success for you getting your license back. So please review that documentation that was sent to you and pick a number of those items. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Let's see who's next. Mr. Devermont, did you have any questions for the petitioner?
Very briefly, Your Honor.
Sure.
Mr. Aquino, where did you do your custody time?
I was moved around in several prisons. I started at Lancaster State Prison. Then I got moved out to Folsom, Old Folsom State Prison, and then went to Solano State Prison. So a lot of my time I did it in Northern California, and then I got shipped out back to Southern California. Well, actually, all the way to like almost Blythe, Chuckawalla State Prison, and then I finally ended at Tehachapi State Prison. So I was in 5 different prisons in 10 years.
What level did you start at?
I started in level 4.
And what level did you end at? Did you discharge?
Level 1. Okay. So
Okay.
I didn't get in trouble.
How many points did you have when you left?
I was at 0 points. It was negative. This is on the negative. Actually, I didn't even think there was such a thing. But because I had an immigration hold, I was trying to do different programs. I was starting to do.
That's okay. Mr. Aquino, Mr. Aquino, please try
Yes.
to just answer my question. Sometimes less is more.
Okay.
So that means if you left with negative points, you got into literally 0 troubles with 0 disciplinary actions. Is that correct?
I did have a disciplinary action. It was a riot. There was a riot in prison. You know, Mexicans and African Americans. But I was able to work my way down to level 1.
Okay. But when you left with negative points. Okay, so that's basically nothing. I mean, nobody really leaves with 0 to negative points. All right. When you were inside, you discharged at level 1. I'm guessing that means you were not affiliated. Is that correct?
I was affiliated, sir. At one point, that's another thing. You know, I used to be a gang member.
Right, but did you leave on a special needs yard, or did you ever go to a PC yard?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did go to special needs after the riot. Yes, because I had to. The code was never to talk to authorities, never to snitch, never to, stuff like that. But I disagree with that. You know, that's something that I.
So you debriefed and left the affiliation and started a new life, correct?
Correct, sir. Correct.
All right. When you were paroled, I'm guessing you were drug tested?
Yes.
Did you ever come up dirty?
Never, sir.
And so I'm guessing that means you haven't been violated.
Never, sir. And we could contact my parole officer for that.
No,
I'm proud of that.
Sometimes less is more, Mr. Aquino.
Okay.
So when you took did you catch 2 robberies or 1 that you actually pled to?
It was actually, I never knew this, but if you go into an establishment and there's 40 people there, they're going to give you 40 robberies. So
I know how it works. Did you catch 2 convictions or 1?
it was 1 conviction, but they made it to 2 because they ran it.
So you caught 2 strikes, correct?
Correct, sir.
Which means that prior to that you hadn't had any strikes, because otherwise
Yes.
you would hit 3, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you haven't had any subsequent strikes, clearly.
No.
All right. So if you get 1 more, you know what that means, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Incentive to stay on the right side. Am I wrong?
I have to stay on the right side.
Okay. I have no more questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devermont. Mr. Finley, do you have any questions for petitioner?
Yeah, I had one question relating to the incident earlier this year and wanted to know when the police were called out, was there alcohol involved in that incident?
Was there alcohol involved? No, sir.
No. Okay. That was the only question I had. So you've been clean since, as far as alcohol is concerned, you've been clean since you've been out?
You know what, sir? I'm not gonna lie. I mean, for the Christmas and New Year's, I might have had a couple drinks, but that was the only occasion. I haven't relapsed.
Okay. Thank you. I mainly wanted to know if alcohol was involved in the incident earlier this year in March that you were talking about previously. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you very much. I have next Ms. Flores Nunez. Do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Hello, Mr. Aquino. Thank you for sharing your testimony. My question, also relating to the incident earlier this year, was if you've had any past incidents with other conflicts in terms of domestic disputes. I know you said that the charges were dropped and it was more of a procedural thing that you were brought in, but have you had any previous conflict? And if so, are you doing anything in terms of steps? Are you taking any steps for conflict resolution, or have you had any classes or anything that will help you with conflict resolution?
Yes. Yeah, the first part that you asked, if I've ever in my past had domestic violence, yes, I did. This was in the 90s, when I was like maybe 18 years old. Now, am I doing anything? I was doing anger management at one point. I was doing anger management class. I wanted to say more, but I just want to keep it short.
Thank you.
Did that conclude your questioning, Ms. Flores Nunez? I just want to make sure.
Yes, that was my only question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. And then Ms. Thrasher, did you have any questions for the petitioner?
My question would be, when you were in the pest control industry in the past, if this was discussed, I don't believe I heard, were you on the pest control side or were you on the termite control side of the business?
I was actually on both, but I would say more pest control.
So you went in and out of people's houses on a regular basis?
Yes.
And as an industry, we just always want to protect the public, so that if you were to ever get your license back again, to understand the importance of being allowed in a customer's home and protecting their personal space and their belongings and never violating that privilege.
Yes, I understand that. That never occurred during my time of employment.
And did you have, how many different pest control jobs did you have initially?
I work for two companies.
Okay.
The main one, Rhino Pest Control in Hawthorne, Gardena.
And does that employer show interest in rehiring you?
Yes, as long as I'm licensed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thrasher. Any other board members wish to have another question before we continue? We finish the questioning. If you just raise your hand.
May I follow up, Your Honor?
Is that Mr. Good?
It's Mr. Devermont.
Mr. Devermont, thank you. I'm so sorry, sir. Please go ahead. Yes, of course.
The illustrious Mr. Devermont. Really quickly, Mr. Aquino, I don't want to belabor the point. The case, the DV that you were arrested for, was that a dismissal or was it a reject?
A reject.
Okay, so the prosecutor looked at the case and decided not to file any charges. It's not that they charged you and then it was dismissed. Is that correct?
Yes.
What was the agency that came to your door?
LAPD.
Okay.
Holland.
Holland. Right. Okay. So LAPD kind of has an unspoken policy where if they respond to a DV, somebody gets arrested just to separate everyone and to prevent it from getting out of control. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for saying that because that's very important.
No problem. No more questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anyone else? You can just speak up. All right, I'm not hearing any further questions. So Mr. Aquino, any final words before we complete today? And I'm going to set a 2-minute limit on it just so that we can get done in a timely manner. But if there's anything final you'd like to say to the board before you complete your testimony.
Yes, I don't know if it's acceptable that, my girlfriend walked in a little while ago and she was telling me, she said, what's very important is that you tell them that that you've been, taking care of what you need to take care of, like, the rent, the bills, she said even that you buy insurance for the cars, those are important things because you've been responsible, since you left the program, rent has been paid, the bills have been paid. However, one utility bill hasn't been paid, but it's something that, I need to get income. It's very important, I'm gonna start work pretty soon too. But I really want to get into this field again. I just want an opportunity to get my license reinstated. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your time and testimony today. That then concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed, the case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this matter. And then after this, pursuant to section 11126C3 of the Government Code, the board will meet in closed session for discussion and to take action on disciplinary matters, including the petition just heard. Before you leave, Mr. Patterson, if I could just please get your court reporter number and also the end time and number of pages for the court reporter form.
Surely. My CSR number is 12432. Hearing concluded at 11:25 a.m. and the approximate number of pages is 100 pages.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you again for the short break. I know it's hard on the court reporter, but I wanted to make sure we were speeding things along given all the technical problems we had at the beginning. So I really appreciate your patience with that.
Yes, it was tough, I'll tell you. I take it there's no time to get any spellings, or do you guys need to run?
I'll leave that up to the board, whether they have time for that. Mr. Good.
I don't know their schedule, so I'm just asking.
No, that's fine. I don't either. So I'm a visitor just like you. So I just want to make sure we're respectful of their time.
Yes, Your Honor, we are definitely running behind, but if he has a few questions on a few spellings that he finds important, let's please to handle that right now.
Okay, then that's fine. Mr. Patterson, go ahead.
I'm just going to page up and go through them instead of writing them down. Let's see what I have. There was a Melissa Roberts, conventional spellings. Melissa Roberts, M-E-L-I-S-S-A, Roberts. Anyone can say yes or no.
Yes, that'd be correct.
Thank you. The next one I have is, I got already, live scan, you said. I got that one, said it twice. There's an Eden Tustello, Eden somebody. Do you know the last name on that? Eden? This may be the petitioner.
Oh, that's the petitioner's attorney, the immigration attorney, and it's Aiden. Castello is Castello.
Thank you so much for that one. And let me go through another one. Congresswoman Corbell, was it? Corbell? Cloro or Corbell? What was the Congresswoman's name?
I think that only the petitioner would be able to respond to that.
Is he still there?
Yes, I've sent him a request to unmute his microphone if he chooses.
Okay. So we don't know the Congresswoman. I'll continue. There was a form. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I hit mute. The Roybal, the Congresswoman Roybal.
Just the spelling for her, please.
Roybal. Lucille Roybal.
Thank you. Who? Roybal? What was the first name?
Lucille.
Lucille. Thank you.
Yes.
And then the next one I have is a do school and still on N400. I'm gonna.
Just to be clear, was that Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard? Oh, he's gone. That's okay.
Allard, but the work permit is an I-766. Was it Hart? I'm not familiar with that term.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me get my wallet and
just strictly the numbers. All I'm asking for, and the spelling of the name of that was Hart.
Yes, the numbers I know it by heart. It's like my driver's license. It's 090-497-823.
I don't think that was what I was asking. I was asking that it was a work permit I-766. Did I hear that correctly?
Correct.
I-766. And did it say Hart afterwards?
I'm sorry?
Did you say the word Hart afterwards? I have something that sounds like phonetically Hart, which is a work permit I-766 Hart, and so that's why I'm...
No, card. Card? Maybe? Card?
Oh, it's card. C-A-R-D. Thank you. Next one is... I'm taking red. Then it was Health Right 60, was it? Or Health?
Yes, Health Right. Health Right.
All one word?
Health Right 360.
Okay, I can Google that and get it spelled properly. Fine. And one more. That's all I have, Your Honor, and board members. I appreciate your taking the time to help me out with that.
No, thank you, Mr. Patterson. Appreciate your time. Again, thank you for your patience with the short break. Have a wonderful day.
Your Honor, may I get one thing? May I get Laura Petitioner? May I get your work phone number in case I need a caption or any help with this if they call for a transcript?
Absolutely. It's 510-8879-0269.
Beautiful. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I need. Shall I hold on or shall I go?
You can go, Mr. Patterson. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your help,
And
Your Honor.
I've muted.
And everybody.
And I will
Thank you.
mute Mr. Aquino. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Aquino. I mean, you're free to leave as well. Thank you so much.
And I think my time has come to leave as well. I don't think I'm needed for the next part. Okay.
Yes, I am going to begin a closed session, which basically is going to leave everyone else who's not involved as an attendee. You will see a blank screen. Do we have any estimate from board president or staff about what the time will be when we return?
Sabina, can you hear me?
I would estimate maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, so did you want to take your lunch now or you want to come back into session at 11:45?
Yeah, let's shoot for that, and then hopefully we'll go through and then finish, and hopefully we'll be completed by 1 o'clock is our goal.
Okay, all right. So I will be beginning the practice session, and we will be back at 11:45. Thank you for your patience as we manipulate the room.
Let us know when we're in closed session, please.
I certainly will.
This is Sabina. Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Sabina.
Yes.
Hi,
Yes,
I just wanted to check because I have to keep changing the microphone back and forth, so I'm so sorry. We'll wait for Ann to, I hate